burn
Yeah.
after it's complete.
Like we said, this is the first of 5 major burns that we will be performing over the coming hours. So this is basically the first major step in the free flight of Demo 2.
Expected loss of signal, Diego Garcia.
For awareness, burn is nominal so far.
All right, we have
We concur. Thanks.
Sight into have right in front of the cabin. They into our front. If you're just now joining, we are 3 minutes 45 seconds into the phase burn. This is the first major burn. You're getting a look inside of the SpaceX Mission Control Center here in Hawthorne. This is the team that's going to be responsible for looking over Dragon and Bob and Doug on their flight up to the International Space Station. We'll have some intermittent video comm with the Dragon spacecraft itself, only when we're over some ground stations and only when we're doing under 3 minutes.
Plan on suit doffing after the burn, and then the Orbit 2 Drake 4's load temp.
Good readback.
All right, so the crew is going to stay in their suits until after this phase burn, which we should be hearing start in just about a minute from now. Using those forward bulkhead thrusters. This one's first burn is in progress. Again, this is the first of the 5 major maneuvers. This one's called the phase burn. Using those forward bulkhead thrusters, so just those 4 Dracos at the very top underneath the nose cone to do these what we call delta V maneuvers, so just big changes in velocity that we're going to do to gradually raise this orbit up over the coming hours. So we're watching some of the screens. We're able to see the burn is in progress. It's expected to last for several minutes, so we'll just keep an ear out, make sure that everything goes well, and then we'll get a report pretty much the same time the crew does on how the burn goes. So we're really just looking for those words, good burn, after it's complete. Itself. So on one axis, the Y, you have how far below you are, and on the X, how far behind the station you still are. It's not perfectly to scale.
Dragon, SpaceX, nominal burn.
Nominal burn.
And we just heard the 2 words we were hoping for, nominal burn. So 1 burn out of 5 checked. And so that was the first one. The next one coming up is going to be the boost burn in about an hour and 24 minutes. Before they get to that, though, we are going to be looking forward to that manual flight test where they're going to be taking the reins and they're going to be taking control of Dragon itself.
Yeah, so in preparation for that moment, I highly encourage you all to check out the simulation that we have on SpaceX.com. It's actually an awesome opportunity for you to test your own skills at steering.
Hey, Dragon, SpaceX, we are disabling cameras.
Steering. It's actually an awesome opportunity for you to test your own skills at steering.
Hey, Dragon, SpaceX, we are disabling cameras. And you are go for suit doffing and on-orbit cabin configuration. Note that camera caps, which will be tethered, can be found in location 8, and cameras are currently configured.
Yeah, so as I was...
Okay, Dragon copy, suit doffing in work. We see that the cameras are off, and
and if you're just now tuning in, you missed the launch, so you might want to head online and make sure you go back and check that out. But Bob Bank and Doug Hurley, our two NASA astronauts, are flying through outer space right now after that successful launch just a little while ago. We're going to be bringing you this ground track that you're looking at. You're going to be able to see exactly where Dragon is over planet Earth, and you're going to see a number of different lines, so usually 3 at a time. And so what that is showing is each of those orbits around planet Earth for the Dragon spacecraft. And it looks like
testing, we've also enhanced and added a number of safety features to Dragon.
much of what was learned with the Cargo Dragon was leveraged in the design of this new vehicle. It's fully autonomous, which means it can basically fly itself, but also features that full manual override capability just in case of emergency.
And many of the other enhancements help towards SpaceX's goal of reusability and less refurbishment time between missions. So let's take a closer look at these advancements.
Standing at almost 20 seconds, do our best to bring it to you. So we're just getting a quick check-in on the teams in Mission Control and Hawthorne. Burn, that was done.
And expected.
And they'll have, that's because it's got very big batteries.
Are sitting, the Earth will be directly below them. So think of it as they'll basically be put out to check out the simulation that we have online where you can test out your skills at steering Dragon and docking it to the International Space Station. That website.
Looking at it around the globe. So with that on-time launch, they've already traveled well away from our two NASA astronauts are flying through outer space right now after that successful launch. Just you missed the launch, so you might want to head online and make sure you go back and check that out. But Bob Bank and Doug Hurley, our two NASA astronauts, are flying through outer space right now after that successful launch just a little while ago. We're going to be bringing you this ground track that you're looking at. You're going to be able to see exactly where Dragon is over planet Earth, and you're going to see a number of different lines, so usually 3 at a time. And so what that is showing is each of those orbits around planet Earth for the Dragon spacecraft. And it looks like it's wavy, but that's because you're taking a globe and then stretching it out flat. And so that's why it looks like, so it is a straight line if you were actually looking at it around the globe. So with that on-time launch, they've already traveled well away from the Kennedy Space Center. They're already downrange, way in excess of 600 miles. But they're going to continue to fly around the planet Earth. They're going to continue to raise their orbit over the next 19 hours. They were successful in doing so with their first burn, the phase burn. That was done.
And SpaceX Dragon for suit doffing. We started a timer for the drying of both suits about 4.5 minutes ago, if you guys want to back us up.
Copy. Timer started for suit drying 4.5 minutes ago. We'll back you up.
And that was the Demo 2 Commander Doug Hurley talking to the core behind us right here in Mission Control Hawthorne. The crew has doffed or gotten out of their spacesuits that they've been in for several hours now, and they kind of hang it up, almost like hanging up your clothes just to dry, and they're going to continue to they have a timer just to know when they're fine to just pack them away. They're not going to have to put those suits on again until tomorrow when it's time to dock with the space station.
Quick, I want to comment there on the view on the right-hand side of your screen. That is, if Bob and Doug were looking out the window, that's basically what they'd be seeing right now. That's a live shot from Dragon, and with planet Earth rotating below it. But
yeah, they're going to continue to make their way up over the next couple of hours. We have a number of items coming up for them, though. We are still counting down to that manual flight test. That should be coming up within the next half hour, and that's going to be Bob and Doug actually taking control of the Dragon spacecraft for the very first time. So that's going to be really exciting. Hopefully we'll get some video inside of the cabin. We'll have video inside the cabin anytime that the crew is ready for us to come on board. And anytime we have connection through ground stations, through SpaceX's worldwide network of ground stations to communicate with the spacecraft.
Yeah, and just real quick, I want to correct myself now that I can see the image a little better. That's actually a live shot from the International Space Station.
I thought it looked like a radiator.
Yeah, for a second I thought it was the Dragon trunk there, but nope, that is the ISS. So that's where Bob and Doug are heading. And like we have been saying so far, this is just the beginning of what is a 19-hour journey for them. So they've got a lot of stuff coming up. Like we've been saying, there are 5 main burns. We've completed the first of those 5 main burns, and they will be going to sleep in a while. Well, they'll eat first, and then they'll get to sleep. And that sleep portion of the mission is actually really important because we need them to be really well rested and comfortable whenever they start doing the approach phases to the International Space Station. So they get scheduled 8 hours, if I remember correctly. Yep. And I mean, you can see whenever we had the views inside of Dragon earlier, you can see that
SpaceX Dragon 4.300 is complete.
Copy, 4.300 complete.
So again, that's Bob and Doug just getting the cabin configured. They're out of their suits, getting a little bit more comfortable, and then hopefully we'll be getting to that manual flight test in just a little while. Yeah, they'll have about 8 hours of sleep scheduled. I don't know how you can go to sleep on a day like today, but I also don't know how they were as calm and collected as they were. So again, you're dealing with some special people when you're flying somebody into space.
For sure. And as we saw from our views inside the cabin earlier, they will be sitting in a sitting position while they're sleeping, whereas on the International Space Station, they have a flat bed, if you will, that they get strapped in. So the sleeping situation that they have for their ride on Dragon is definitely a little different than what they'll have on their longer stay on the International Space Station.
We are ready.
Copy. I'll give you the go after the transition is verified.
All right, so again, they're going to put Dragon into a far field pointing.
Copy.
So they're going to put it into a special configuration just to let the flight computer know that, hey, this manual flight test is happening, and then the flight computer won't be trying to fight it or adjust the attitude at any point during this. And again, all of the inputs that Doug is going to make as he's doing the manual flying, they're not going to send those final commands to the flight computer. So when they're done, the flight computer takes back control of the spacecraft, continues flying on its way to the station.
Yeah, so I would imagine that right now they must be really excited to conduct this test. Bob and Doug are test pilots. This is what they live for. And for them to have the opportunity to test out a completely new vehicle, this upcoming test is certainly something that I'm sure they've been looking forward to.
So we're just going to continue to stand by. We'll get this test started. We'll be hopefully over their shoulder the whole time, and we'll bring you the results after it's concluded.
So see you in far field pointing. You are go to perform manual piloting test per 4.042, far field manual piloting. The test must be completed by 21:26.
Okay, we copy. We've got to go for 4.042. We'll put that in work and understand the test needs to be completed by 21:26 Zulu.
Good readback.